am Meenakshi Shedde. I'm South Asia consultant to the Berlin and the Dubai film festivals. I'm here at the Bengaluru International Film Festival, and we're very fortunate to have a special guest with us here this evening. His name is Hassan Nazer, an Iranian filmmaker, and he has a film here called Utopia in the Asian section. And it's very intriguing because he's an Iranian filmmaker and he studied filmmaking in Aberdeen in Scotland.
Yes, that's right.
And he's based in Scotland.
Yeah.
And he's made this film Utopia, which is set in Afghanistan and India and the UK. So this is like very, very unusual for us. It's a very new kind of Iranian cinema. It's actually an Afghanistan film. And in fact, it was actually nominated from Afghanistan for the Oscars as a foreign language entry. Hassan, tell us how you came about this extraordinary idea.
Thank you for letting me join with you.
Yeah.
I actually, when the script came to me from one of my, one of the actor I worked with him in the past, one of my last film.
Yeah.
When I had a story, I see this story never been, like this story, in the past. This subject was very different, and I don't think even I can say there is no similar subject in the world for it exists, and I thought I can be a first person to deal with this subject and make a movie from it, and now it's done.
So just briefly, the film is about a Muslim woman in Afghanistan whose husband is paralyzed and she can't have a baby. So she actually has artificial insemination, and there's some complication at that stage, which I don't want to reveal all the details, but there's, I should say complications that arise from it. For me, it's really interesting because he's talking, I think, of quite a provocative subject, and it's kind of political as well because it talks of the war in Afghanistan, and one of the key actors involved is kind of politically motivated. So can you tell us about the idea of utopia which you're exploring in this film?
Utopia, the character in the movie, he's thinking the world we are living, there's so much conflict and so much interference. And he's trying to deal with the interference of Westerners in the east side of the world, so to make utopia. And this is the whole idea of the movie, and we're looking into three different stories, and these three different stories, they're all bringing same idea to show it is possible to make utopia or not. I think this movie is a very good sample, for worldwide people to watch. There is no. This film never meant for one nation. It's for everybody, everybody in the world, because they're dealing with the destiny, and this character trying to challenge with their own destinies, and they change the destiny, but they finding no possible, or there is no way at the moment to deal with the destiny and changing the destinies.
So that's very interesting to me because in a way you're saying that one of the motivating factors of writing such a story is a resistance to Western interference.
That's right, yeah.
And yet, what your film is actually saying is Western interference with a good intention.
That's right, yes.
So the solution to the problem of Western interference, the solution again in your film is Western interference but with a good intention.
That's right, yeah. We are looking two different ways. Interference, and there is a solution, so because there's a few ideology in the movie, and if so many meaning in the movie, I cannot just controversially push one matter, Of course, there's a political matter in this movie, there's a religious matter in this movie, there is, I get, for example, I'm a filmmaker in Iran myself, so the Iranian authority completely helping me, and even this film got, permission to show in Iran. But, because of the very sensitive topic, I know given permission to make in Iran.
Let me understand this. The Iranian authorities are okay with your screening the film?
Yes, they're okay.
But they won't give you permission to film it in Iran?
That's right, yes.
This is very interesting.
Yeah. Because, the subject is very sensitive, and there is many, again, ideology in Iran as well, so nobody looking for trouble, for a film. Even myself, I'm not looking for trouble, but the thing is, for me was possible, is no damaging the story, because the story happened in Afghanistan and the character is Afghani. There's no reason for me to make it. But it was easier for me to make all the internal shot in Iran. Like in the production side, even was cheaper. And the security. Even we didn't have to go to Afghanistan, spend the time in Afghanistan for the internal shot. But we had to go with the rule.
Tell me what it was like. What were the big challenges of shooting in Afghanistan and in India?
Yeah, of course, in Afghanistan, security. We had our security was bigger than the crew. We scheduled the shooting and we cancel in very last minute, and we go, for other day. And our lead actress Malalai Zikria, she threatened, to not play in this role because of the subject again. But she did believe, this is help Afghanistan. Is not against Afghanistan. It's just is a new idea and need to spread out. And she did.
And she lives in Afghanistan.
No, actually, she born in Afghanistan, but she working in Afghanistan also herself. Most of the time. But she lives in France.
Okay.
She lives in France. Okay. There is lots of Afghan people living in France, so they have a connection, But most of their time she is spending in Afghanistan. So, and in India, to be honest, we never had any problem,
Where did you shoot and how did you?
We shot in Jaipur, and we have a producer contact with the, line producers here, and they set up everything. I just came for location. Our art director came first, and after I came, and by the time the shooting day, said everything was ready. Everything was ready, and the most easiest part for us was India.
Okay, so that's a compliment. So tell us who your line producer was.
Mr. Venu Gopal. I think he's in this field for a long time. He was, involved in festival from very beginning with all these art festivals. So, and he helped us with all authorities, permissions, and everything was in order. So yeah.
So this is a compliment. Because usually we keep hearing of line producing Western films, so it's quite unusual relatively, although I know that Mohsin Makmal had shot a film in India, and I think Scream of the Ant or something like that.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
And we've known of others, so there haven't been so many Asian films. There were also Jackie Chan's The Myth with Mallika Sherawat that was shot in India, but not so many otherwise in Asia, so that's an interesting experience to you. Tell us what it took for you to be living to be an Iranian in Scotland and still to be having it chosen as an Afghanistan entry for the Oscars.
Yeah.
Although it is so provocative. What did it take to get that?
It's actually, I would maybe say the reason I'm taking this is I was taking this story because I'm an immigrant myself, so from Iran to UK, and in this movie, the lead actress taking big step, and I did a big step myself when I left Iran and went to Scotland for study, and I settled there, So, and that was one thing. But why Afghanistan with the Iranian director? The production funded by Afghanistan company, funded by Afghanistan company, and I think
who is the producer?
The producer is Mr. Hamid Samar.
The company is called
Nai Media. Nai Media is an Afghani company, so they provide us the fund, and I think nowadays it's no matter, where are you from, where is the ideas coming. I think when the story is for one country, can be from different national, now we are living on internet, so everything can be reached. All the cultural, all the researches, for me, that was the first time I went to Afghanistan for finding location.
Okay.
I didn't know Afghanistan. I didn't know Afghanistan what it looked like. I just watched in the TV. So, but when I arrived in Afghanistan, there was something else. So I had to little bit study on the cultural, and I got help from the local people. Make sure the script is right. There's nothing, because the writer even never been in Afghanistan. Writer is he's from Iran as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
very interesting.
Yeah, and. We worked in the script almost 6 months after we received the script. Make sure all the political side, the religious side, everything is in order. Nobody can, put a finger. So
what would the religious guy say about a woman having a baby by artificial insemination?
Yeah, actually, we had a scene in the film. The lead actress going ask leader religious to, am I okay to do that or no? That was the original script. And when we research in Afghanistan, we see there is no religious leader over there. There is no such a religious leader. So we had to change the character and add uncle, her uncle in the house who is looking after the husband to make sure they have a close relationship, and he gave the order. And for you, okay to do that because you're showing your good faith to your husband, and your husband cannot do anything. If he was, I'm sure he would accept it. So we had to, rolling, to finding the way, for the all the questioning there, and. I don't say I never had a problem in Afghanistan. This movie representing, from Afghanistan to Oscar, because I'm Iranian, and political way Iran and Afghanistan they are no in good relation, So, and we have lots of Afghani people living in Iran after when the Taliban came, they immigrated, to Iran, and. They're not really happy the way they're treating in Iran. So I can comment on it because I'm not working there and I'm away from it. So but we got so much disagree of some people who's involved in the cinema. Why this film? Why this film? Why this film? We have to send our film. I think there was another film was Mina Walking. I think this is screening here as well. There was a fight between of these two, but end of the day, the filmmaker, the commerce of filmmaking in Afghanistan, they come to the decision they have to send the film which better for Afghanistan, story wise, performance wise, so the quality, they decide our movie, as I am not Iranian, so I wasn't inside, but I know lead actress, she was over there and she knew about all this conflict happened over there, why this film, so I had so much comment. I even had, I know they're making so big letter with the signature, they're sending to Oscar, the director is Iranian, but Oscar never replied back about this, because this day is no matter where it's directed from, as long the production is from Afghanistan.
That is the committee that decides for Afghanistan, they have chosen.
That's right. The committee wrote a letter to Academy, which is they confirming Utopia is their nominee, So, and when they send it, the committee of course approved, from academies. So
it's
that
even
was
more and more global. Everything. But this is quite unusual because. People are so sensitive usually about Oscar entries. They feel extremely patriotic, and people are very sensitive. So, so it's quite interesting that even this patriotism is seen as something more global.
To be honest, anything has happened for this movie is for Afghanistan. It's not for me. I'm introducing a movie for Afghanistan. Here, anybody said the movie is from Afghanistan. It doesn't matter where is the director. We had 25 nationality in the movie.
Wow.
25 nationality. We had from Germany, we had from Poland, we had from Czech Republic, Lithuania, and we are from UK, France. Yeah.
It's truly a global film.
Global film. Everybody talking English with each other, So, and I think we all came together to, show the idea of the film. So it doesn't matter where we are from. I think the committee of Afghanistan film union, they made a good decision. I don't say other film was bad or good, so all film has their own story, and we should appreciate all the movie. Doesn't matter it's good or bad, but they have to send the best for the country because they representing country, So if you don't have top, you have to send one down, one below top, So.
Would you say that you're an idealist when you're talking of a situation which you yourself feel is not realistic in your film? Destiny still rules over idealism, but would you describe yourself as an idealist in making this film?
To be honest, I'm personally before idealist. I'm not controversial even, So I believe there is a destinies, there is a destinies, and you cannot fight with the destiny. If you try to fight with your destiny, this is your destiny to fight with your destiny.
Okay.
So I believe that, and when I wrote the story, and I feel the story want to say the same thing, So, and I was seeing I'm making this film during I'm reading the story, and I think it's a nice film, and I think releasing worldwide.
Yeah.
We have a distributing line, so they picked
Really?
up the movie. Yeah,
Oh, that's
right,
fantastic.
yeah.
Who's that?
Shoreline.
Oh,
That's right,
fantastic.
yeah.
Is there a chance it might be released either in Iran, India, or Afghanistan?
In Iran, definitely releasing on April because
Oh.
we have cinema already
Wow.
in place and
Okay.
for sure we're releasing worldwide as well. But the contract we have with Shoreline, Iran is excluded.
I see.
So Iran is
Then rest of
that's
world.
right. Iran is big for us, and the rest of the world is for them.
I find it really interesting because you talked of quite an exodus of Afghanis coming and settling in Iran, and I think we've seen it in some early films. I can't remember clearly, but I think in Majid Majidi's Baran, if I'm not mistaken,
Baran,
it
yes,
was
Majid Majidi, yes.
That's one Afghani girl
It was Afghani girl
who dressed up as a boy, right? So I think there were a number of other films we've seen in India which talked of the Afghanistan population living in Iran.
That's right.
So there's, I would imagine, people quite familiar with that culture.
Yes.
And did you run the script by Afghanis living in Iran before you actually went there?
No, actually, we went to Afghanistan
Directly
in Afghanishan, and we changed the script over there with the Afghani people.
Yeah,
So we
It's
make sure,
local.
they're there. They know what because Afghanistan every day is new things.
Yeah, yeah.
Today could be something there, and tomorrow is not there.
You wanted it to be real to the
Make
contemporary
sure,
situation.
that's why we don't get any complaint from anybody. This part of your movie is no for Afghanistan. Usually you get these things.
Yeah.
If some foreigner makes some other
Yeah.
move from different part of the world, you get
Yeah.
some point. This part is not like that. So fortunately, this worked very well because we spend a lot of time.
But you're also showing a Muslim woman in a part of the world that in the media are not hugely shown to be empowered women or deciding their own destinies
Yeah.
or trying to change their own destiny. I mean, except for like a Malala, it's more in the media. It's more the exceptional,
Exactly.
and you tend to see the women in burqas and exploited and beaten up by the Taliban, etc. So was that one of the intentions for you to make the film, to show a woman who is in control of her own destiny?
It's a very good point. That I should say before. But you come across a good point. Funding coming from Afghanistan. That was the actual the point they wanted to make this
Okay,
movie.
okay.
Because every movie we see in Afghanistan, even all the good movie like Osama Sadir Barmak made this one, or all the film for Mr. Atir Rahimi, they're all they show bad side of Afghanistan, and this woman is she has ideology and she fight with a destiny and she's trying to do something and she travel to different country, different part of the world. This is never shown in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Everything we see, the poverty, no money, they don't have something to eat. They're all looks. They're trying to change their identity. So they're fighting with each other. And this movie is like talking about other part of Afghanistan,
Yes.
other looks of Afghanistan.
Yes. In fact, I'm reminded of another movie. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there a Mohsen Makhmalbaf film, Safar-e Dandehar?
Safar-e
Which is called
Dandehar,
Kandahar,
yeah,
which
that's
again is a modern Afghan woman who's living in Canada who
That's
comes
right.
back
Yeah.
and
That's right.
has a relationship with. She has a connection with her roots back in Afghanistan, and I find it interesting. So, would you have felt more comfortable for you and the actress to make this film because you're not living there all the time, that you're visiting, and you visited to make the movie, and she's living somewhere else in France, the lead actress? Is that give you a broader sense of comfort in making a film? Because if the film were to be attacked for we don't know how it
Yeah.
might be received.
Yeah.
You would have the safety of still making the film you want.
That's right. Yeah.
And maybe not making a bigger sacrifice, but still telling the story you want. Would you have more freedom to make the film because both of you are not actually living there, you and the lead actress?
Of course, this is true. So it was very hard, for somebody who live in Afghanistan make this movie because that can be every day can be something happen. For us was a advantage because we're living in different country and even when Iran they taking this film to show they know me as the person who live in a foreign country. Maybe if I was living in Iran, I wouldn't give this permission even to show off this film in Iran. So but fortunately the things works together and there wasn't much censor in Iran as well. There was a few few lines.
Oh, you had to go through it because you're releasing now.
That's right,
So
yes.
what did they want removed? For example?
I think something they wanted removed about make sure they're not talking about the sensitive stuff in the movie, which is she have a husband and she's trying to have another husband,
Okay.
and the babies because in the film using the word the baby is the bastard, so,
I see. Okay,
and
I
they didn't
understand.
want it, this harsh word, use
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
To be honest, I was really surprised, if they didn't give me much censor, so
Yeah.
they usually give.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah.
usually it's not happening. It's zero censor.
Yeah.
They have
It's
to
true.
give some.
Yeah.
Everywhere
Yeah.
is this way,
Yeah.
But I was surprised and I was really happy. I thought, because I have seen the way people dress in UK, it's not work with the Iranian,
That's true.
but
That's super.
they're okay with it, So
Lovely.
I think Iranian cinema is more opening now,
Yeah.
and I think it's good for
Lovely.
culture. And,
Nice. So I think also because, as you can see, he's very young, relatively young. So I think it's important that younger people are voices in Iran as well as living outside are able really to think of a global context for their stories. And I like the idealism of the film and the idealistic intention behind it. And I'd like to wish Hassan Nazer good luck and
Thank you
fingers
so
crossed
much.
for the Oscars.
Thank you
Good
so
luck
much.
to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for that.
you.